JC Magic presenting from the grand land of Olean, my basement. But anyway. So we just uploaded a video doing a routine that I have been working on, and here's why. Last month I started a magic club, and it was just my daughter and I. I didn't market very well, didn't get a lot of traffic, zero traffic besides us, but we still spent 2 hours jamming out some magic. Now I did have to charge my phone for part of that. Nobody was there. But either way, we went through the magic props. She had a box of magic props, and I was working on some material. So what I figured what I would do today is I'll first walk you through it and give you the idea for it, which I can do it sitting. I could probably do it seating. Sitting, probably. Anyway, basic principle here is this. You're going to start with, it's rope magic at its finest, and it just passes through your neck. So that's the first little bit. The second bit is the gimmick itself. And what I like doing with this is I like getting it some movement. Now, if I had more room, we did a little bit more dance and twirling around when we were practicing it. But the basic idea is that you want to throw it behind you, get this at eye level so that when you open it up, they see the front, which is black. If you have a whole audience of people, then they're going to see, and it's a flourish, really, at best. But you could really get this, especially with camera, you could get this facing right towards the camera. Your arm and the tension will cover the color, and then you expose and gives you some time to finish up the closing of the end here. But then it becomes rainbow. Now, with the light spectrum and all that, so then you have this idea, which then allows you to go into the last part, which is the same trick that I've done with ribbon through ring from the Mark Wilson course in magic. So this is what we actually kind of was working on in that. One of the tricks that my daughter and I were looking at was this, because I already do it, but I don't always carry the ribbon, but I might have the scarf on me or a piece of, even if it's not rope, it's something long that can be used in the same manner. And it's the same trick that I do with the ribbon through ring. The idea is that you have to talk. Like right now, I'm not in frame, so you could see the whole deal. But it's tied around there, right? But it'll pass through and it still looks pretty magical. Now, if you want a further breakdown of that, let me know. Or if you want to see different angles, that's fine. We can always go through that. I just want to walk through that because I want you to start thinking about presenting your routines in a different way. Because that's what I'm doing. You have cause and effect. You have a story that's unfolding. The story that's unfolding here is I have a scarf. It's winter. I can make it pass through things, which is a magical effect, right? It phases through. Now, we do return to that effect, but in a bigger way at the end. First, I pull it through. It's black. Then I change it to a rainbow. Then I can pull it through a chair. Now, my neck, you're thinking, it's a different way of doing it, like this. Just be careful with your hat. That it pulls through your neck. You could kind of see there in slow motion what was happening. The reason why this is a little bit more is because I'm going through a hole and I'm tying it, and then it's still melting through at the end. So the story that's happening here is that we have magic, and we have that this is like a beam of light, and that's why we see the color on it, like a kaleidoscope effect of some kind, and that it also bears the same principles of light, which is allows it to pass through objects. So even like if the sun is out and you're in your house, you still kind of like this. You think that the house is going to protect you. Well, it does in a way, but like X-ray goes through things and things like that. But that's the principle of light that we're talking about, is that it can potentially go through things, especially when it becomes heat energy, which then like the sun can warm up your house from beating down the rays on the top of it. Anyway, that goes into like a little bit of science, but that's the idea that we're going with here for the progression of the story. Is it can go through the neck, change colors, which is why the magic is happening. So with the explanation that we're giving is that it's actually a beam of light. It's a rainbow. It's magical. Then you see a similar trick again, but this time even more amazing because now it's going through a closed object. that's happening right before your eyes. And what I really love, this isn't quite as long as what would be nice. I mean, you could potentially do it with the chair, but not with your neck. If you had a longer thing like this, this is stretchy. You could do the same trick with this, with spectator interaction, potentially getting this around here, and then you have two people hold one side and one and the other side, and then it'll pass through your neck as well. If you have a longer piece of rope, this doesn't really work around the neck because it's a little bit shorter and there's not much give to it. So it's literally like they'd have to be up close and personal in order to make that happen. But you could potentially go through the chair because it's not as intimate and personal there to make this happen, where you have one person here and one person there. Now, what I would actually recommend, if you don't have a chair like mine, but if you're at like an auditorium, we'll have like the metal chair, so it's not as big. Or if you just have some type of loop here. You could even have like a metal ring that somebody's holding. My recommendation would be is you would hold the back, potentially, or you would have like some really solid directioning so that they're not paying attention to what's happening here. And then as they pull at the same time, it melts through. And that is mesmerizing to the eyeballs. Hot shot. And so that's why we want to do the things that we're doing. We want it to fit in character for what we're doing, because we really want to talk about, as we move forward, presenting the character that we are. And I'm kind of like the fun science teacher or the fun uncle. You know, I can make mistakes, but I have like random knowledge that doesn't really make sense at first, but then kind of just comes back around, is my hope. So it's not like I'm a professional, like a professor. I'm not somebody who's always knowledgeable. It's not something that always works. There's like antics that I get up to, and then at the end, you just have a good time throughout. And the knowledge that I'm imparting to you is legitimate, but the way that I'm providing it is going to seem silly until it works. You know, like that's the idea anyway. Hot stuff. We'll leave that for another video. But anyway, thanks for coming along on the journey. I'm JC Magic. Stay positive, stay active, and stay awesome. And hopefully we see you in the next one.